Hi everybody, and welcome to my studio. Today I'm going to show you how to take care of your Copic markers. So Copic markers are alcohol-based markers, and they're really commonly used by artists because they're absolutely great for blending color. They're really easy to use. They're great. If you are going to use a marker for any kind of artwork, I highly recommend them. The big drawback about using Copic markers is that they're quite expensive. The most common ones are these Copic channels. Here in Japan they cost about 300 yen, so about $3. And these larger Copic sketches, which cost about 450 or 450 yen, or about $4.50. They're quite expensive, and for that reason you can repair them if they get damaged or if they run out of ink. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So the first thing I'm going to show you guys is how to replace the nib. So on this marker here, this is a colorless blender, so it's supposed to be clear, but in this case you can see it actually has absorbed some color from the last time it was used. So I'm going to replace the nib with these replacement super brush nibs, and that's actually really easy to do. Now if you read the instructions, they'll tell you that you need a pair of tweezers to remove them, and you honestly don't. We're going to bypass the tweezers, and instead we're going to just use everyday tissue. And it's literally as simple as grabbing the nib with the tissue, pulling it off, putting the new one back in. It's really that easy. Okay, and now you have a brand new clean nib, and it will eventually become moist with the ink that's inside. So you can replace the super brush. And this marker, the chisel tip side, is a little bit damaged as well. So you can replace the chisel tip as well. It's the exact same process. All you do is you use your marker, or you use your tissue, grab the chisel tip off. You can just keep it wrapped up in the chisel tip, that way you keep everything clean. Put the chisel tip into the marker, and you're good to go. If you want, you can use some various ink to refill it, but if we leave this alone, it'll probably turn green by the time I'm done the rest of the video. Okay? So that's replacing the nibs. The other thing that'll happen is your marker will run out of ink. So I have some cardstock here, and I have some markers that have ran out of ink. And there are 3 ways that you can replace the ink. So this one, you can tell, is quite dry. The easiest method, which doesn't require very much to do, is to just take the replacement ink and apply it to the chisel tip, angling the marker up like this. Okay? And just slowly dripping it in. And you'll have to wait between applications because the chisel will become saturated with ink, and it won't fill the marker, so you'll have to fill it and then wait. This is great to do if you're almost done something and you just need like a quick fix. You can do this. Okay. And you'll be able to see that I'm getting good ink. This probably won't last for too long because the marker's not overly full. It would be quite time consuming to do a whole marker that way. This one's also not so full. one's not as bad as the other one, but I think it could be better. The next method that you can do is to take a clean paper towel, pull off the nib, so pull it off, okay. And then in this situation, you can go a little bit faster by inserting the nozzle of the various ink into the pen. And I recommend at this point you take off both caps. And what you're going to do is you're going to keep an eye on the bottom of your marker. Because once the bottom of that marker starts to get full, maybe even dripping with ink, you know the marker's full. This method is a little bit faster. Starting to get some drops. And you can test by just dabbing it onto a piece of paper. Okay. And then replace the chisel top. You can see that this marker is now going to be working much better. That one's not too slow. It's a little messy. It's a little imprecise. But it's a little bit better than the drip technique. I stopped using the drip technique after I found this one. Okay, the last technique that you can use, you're going to need to buy one of these. This is a Copic marker refiller, I think that's what they call it. And it's basically just a needle. So if you're going to use this, be careful. The way this is done is you remove the cap to your ink. And you'll notice like that the cap has these threads on it. You're going to screw that onto the top. Just like with the second technique I showed you, you're going to remove both caps and you're going to apply the ink. It's quite dry. You're going to apply the ink to the top. Now if you look really closely, there's going to be a little notch right here. That's where you're going to insert the needle. And you're going to insert it all the way. You can't really go too far. And what's nice about this method is I can actually use the measuring guides on the side to see how much ink I put in. And you can just squeeze it a couple times to inject the ink directly in. And you can tap to see how full the marker is getting. You want to keep an eye on that bottom nib. It should look juicy, but it shouldn't look super soaked. And that's probably enough. Okay. Make sure that the nib is down. Sometimes it'll pull that nib up. And then you can test it out. Much better color on both sides. The only thing left to show you guys is what to do with this needle once you're finished with it. The Copic ink is alcohol soluble, so we're going to have to clean it with alcohol. Now you can use the colorless blender to clean it, but you can also use rubbing alcohol. It'll work for both purposes. And the rubbing alcohol is a lot cheaper. This bottle is 500 milliliters. It cost me about 900 yen, so about 10 bucks. And to clean it, this is how I clean it. I hold the pen up and I slowly add a little bit of alcohol. And I'm waiting for that stream of ink to stop being dyed green and wait for it to become clear. And it's clear now. Then I take a piece of paper towel, I go inside, and there should already be enough alcohol in there to clean the inside, so I don't have to add any more. I do a visual inspection, make sure everything inside is clean, and then I take that same sort of alcohol soaked one and I just go over the length of the needle, and then I put it back into its cap, which goes like this. Okay. So that's a short video today on how to take care of your expensive Copic markers and maybe save a buck or two on your art supplies by refilling your markers yourself and by replacing the nibs yourself. Thank you very much for watching the video. I'll see you guys later. Bye.